So welcome back, Agent Growth Hub launch call. Today we're talking about action plans and lead conversion tactics. There's several people on this call that have been inundated with action plan and lead conversion tactics for days and days and days now. But I want to kind of get a little bit more creative when it comes to what kind of information that we're putting out, even in the early nurture or lead conversion cycle. So, our team, we do every single week, we look at conversion, we look at, appointments set, appointments met, conversations having, and what we noticed over the last couple of weeks of looking through our data, and maybe you guys have experienced this as well, is that calls really aren't getting it done anymore. And we had experienced this in like 2020 and 2021 a lot, where people weren't picking up the phone because they were home and on their phone all the time. And so we switched a lot of our lead gen tactics to text and email. And that worked really, really well during that time. And then for whatever reason, in late 2022, it kind of went back to where text and email was kind of being ignored. And then calls really stepped back up. And so we evolved again. And what we're kind of experiencing this month is that, yet again, calls are just not coming through. And I think that has a lot to do with consumer behavior, but I also think it has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of the cell phone carriers have changed their deliverability. And so I don't know, I've talked to a couple of our teammates about this, but I've personally experienced where I just get a voicemail and my phone never even rang. Yep. And that, right, multiple times. And same thing, where their phone just rings and rings and I leave them, another agent a voicemail. And then they call me back like, my phone didn't even ring. I'm so sorry. So it could be kind of an iOS thing.
Yeah, like almost like a spam thing. And I know this doesn't really tie to that so much, but Sharon had done a video yesterday, like recently, that I thought was powerful, more about the sphere stuff, which was more about, at least from the sphere stuff, it was like, how do we connect with people? But depending on who these people are, I mean, some of our systems will connect to some of the social platforms, but like almost like a stalking process a little bit. Like, how do I understand what's going on with this person? And how do I connect? Because there's only going to be so many people. So I just wonder if some of those routes, like if we're really just getting no results, do we literally link to like social platforms and reach out through those?
I saw that too. And I was actually that was part of my point today of kind of getting creative, because what we really talked about on our team yesterday and what we're really focusing on moving forward is that, we've been kind of looking at calling as like our one unilateral way of reaching out to people and connecting with people. And if we actually get in the minds of consumers and get in the minds of people out there, there's 6, 7 different mediums with which I communicate with people that I know and like and trust, let alone with brand new people. So there's calling, there's texting, there's email, there's Facebook Messenger, there's Instagram Messenger. There's so many different mediums, with which we can communicate with people. And so what we're talking about on our team is, we've updated our new lead. So if we get a new lead into the system, it gets assigned to you. We are now doing, I'm sure you've heard of the 10 days of pain that Ben Kinney had done years and years ago. We're not taking it quite to that extreme, but we're calling it the 10 days of nurture. And it's just a significantly more aggressive outreach that on day 1, we're calling them with an immediate follow-up text message. And then we're calling them again 10 minutes later. And then we're going to call them a third time later that day and then send an email recapping. Out of 4 leads that Chuck got in one day, 3 responded on the third call.
So if we think of like behavior and stuff too, I mean, we've all had like somebody who we felt like we were being spammed. We keep seeing this number come through. At some point, you actually, like I know for me, at some point I will pick up the phone. I'm usually not that much of a jerk, and I may actually do business, even though they may have annoyed me a little bit. Just like a mindset.
Because it's the persistence.
Shift. Yeah, yes. You're just like they're gonna keep calling. Like I need to like do something. One thing on the texting that was interesting. So one of our sources is Dave Ramsey. We've had that off and on for years. But one thing that's interesting is they're asking the consumer what is their preference. And I will tell you, basically everybody who's coming through is text. That's what I mean, whether that's true or not, but everybody puts text message, every one of them. So we've on what they've been doing is saying, okay, reach out to them first, however they've chosen. But it just as a pattern, I'm noticing most of them are text, and there's some responsiveness through that. So I don't know if it's just specifically there, but I think you have to hit people with every, like if I think of my sphere, when I go into our system and I go to call like through my sphere, like I look and I'm like, okay, this person I communicate via, I don't think anybody's via email like on my sphere, but like, this person is some of it actually is. Some people just, that's what they choose as a medium, usually older people. But is it text? Is it Facebook Messenger? And I know when I'm looking at the sphere stuff, like I will look sometimes, I will do some stalking. If I haven't talked to them in a while, see what's going on in their life and then reach out.
Yeah, exactly. So let's pivot to that real quick, and then we'll kind of come back to the actual action plans because, for my teammates, Sharon posted a video yesterday on his Instagram, and it's so spot on. And I just love how he articulates things and breaks things down so simply. But essentially what it is, we need to stop calling to check in with people. We need to stop calling to see how they're doing and how their home search is going. Like, stop calling people to check in. When we have the most up-to-date tool, Facebook, Instagram, where people are posting in real time what's going on in their life, if we then call them to check in on them and they have to stop and explain what's going on in their life, that is an interruption in their life. That is not getting into the flow with which they are living. And the best way for us to integrate ourselves into the minds and into the space of potential clients is to find our way into their flow, right? So instead of, like, if you can connect with people, and so this is back in 2017 when Mike and I were absolutely hammering the phones in 10 days of pain in any possible way that we could possibly find somebody on any social media platform. We would reach out to you and we would exhaust all resources, right? We were absolutely relentless, which is why we closed 77 PPC deals in our first year. Like, it was that we were relentless about it. But when you have Sphere, or if you have people or potential clients, PCSOI calls, don't call to check in on them. Go stalk them on social media. Go see what they've been up to. Go see what's happening in their life. Don't pretend like you don't see it. Everybody sees it. It's public. So then when we call them, it's not, hey, I'm checking in on you. It's like, hey, I just wanted to say, I saw your post about this thing. That's amazing. Tell me more about that. Boom. You're in their flow. You're in their life. So I think that concept, the social media has gray area, has black and white. It's good and bad, right? My main reason for utilizing social media beyond connectivity of other agents and networks and education is truly lead generation and sphere building. Like, if you look at my feed, I'm sharing real things. I'm sharing absolutely real things in my life, but I intentionally try to mix up a little bit of humor, a little bit of family, a little bit of feel good, a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So it's relevant to multiple demographics, right? It's all still totally me, but it is relevant to multiple demographics. So when I see real estate agents posting like deep stuff on there, or they're airing grievances with other clients, or they're complaining about other agents, that's not going to make you look any better, right? So we have to be strategic with how we use social media, not just going out and trying to get in people's flow, but also what we put out into the universe. Like, it's very strategic, in my opinion, and it's a huge, huge tool. Did I kind of encompass all that, Jim, what you took from Sean's video?
Yeah, I think it's about connection. I mean, even if you were reaching out to somebody who you are not connected on a social platform, go figure out what they're about, figure out what their connections are, and almost grabbing those mutual connections. Because I know in my area, like, most people have some connection in some way to me. Like, if I go onto a social platform with a random person, most of them have some connection. There's some, somebody I can talk about, like, hey, how do you know? Because people have reached out to me like, hey, how do you know so and so? And I respond, and I don't even know this person.
I think that really ties in well to a a friend of ours, Chris Snow, runs a really successful team out of Florida. And he kind of came up with, different touches of nurture. So a way to kind of incorporate all of this, right? Because on our team, what we've decided to do for the first 10 days of nurture with brand new leads is to really hammer them for those first 10 days. So 3 calls, text and an email first day, and then call, text, email every single day for 10 days. And every one of those emails needs to provide some sort of actual value, not just, hey, I'm still looking to see if you want to buy a house. Like, nobody's going to respond to that, guys. But I have some ideas from my friend Chris that I wanted to share, because just like Jim said, if we go and we're like, okay, like I got this lead, or I got this referral, or I have this lead that I have a connection with, or, I've had a brief conversation with that felt like a connection. Let's go stalk them on social media, see what they're about. Might be creepy at that point to send them a message trying to get a hold of them, like Mike and I did way back in the day, but you can see what they're about. And then do something like, hey, I happen to notice that you are into dogs and you have a dog. I thought this might be interesting to you. And then pull up the 5 breweries or 5 restaurants that are dog friendly in the area that you can see that they're looking for a home. There's an idea. Or maybe it's, they've been looking in, for our area, Arlington and Marysville and Lake Stevens, and you can kind of see like there's multiple different, homes within those areas they've been looking at. So maybe send them, a video from our Living in Snohomish County YouTube page of like top 5 towns for people, or like why Arlington or why Lake Stevens. Like, get specific with what you're sending people, and it's going to have a more personal touch, right?
So what I see a lot, and I've seen this like really with newer agents and partners, is they're just so like laser focused on the call, and they're like, hey, I'm getting my calls in, but I'm not getting appointments, and they feel like they're just kind of spinning their wheels. There's kind of a little bit of a lack of critical thinking. Like, okay, this is super efficient, but it's not very effective, right? And that's where considering that multi-channel approach becomes really, really important. It's like, okay, if calls aren't getting the outcome, maybe you should call and then text them right after you call them, like a really natural kind of way that you could communicate with people. Like if I was going to call Jim and I didn't reach Jim, I would probably text Jim, right? Like that's kind of like a natural way to communicate with people. So the more you can get cross-channel, the better conversion you're going to get. And like Rachel said, like it's really focused effort the first 10 days to make contact. And if you really try to get them on the phone or get them to respond to a text and run with that conversation to qualify their motivation, you can figure out how best to follow up with them. But you got to like really start thinking more than just calls, and like ask yourself, if what you're doing, is it effective or not? If it's just efficient, it's not going to get the job done. You have to balance those 2 things.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I think in real estate, people, like you said, get so, one track mind about where are my deals coming from? What kind of prospecting do I need to do? And prospecting is typically seen as calling, right? Power hours, or I love, Emerald's dialing for dollars, right? Like, what are we doing for this particular prospecting? Well, prospecting is also going on social media and liking and commenting on every single one of your sphere's life events or things that they've done. Prospecting is also holding open houses and then following up with every single one of those people for weeks. Like, even if they say they have an agent, guys, 90% of agents suck. 90% of agents fail in this business, and they will drop the ball. And if you are the one who still continues to follow up and have provided value and sent a simple email or a check-in or sent a text every single week to those open house leads, guess what? They may be like, all right, well, we were trying to really stay loyal, but our agent hasn't called us back in 3 days and we'd like to go see this house. Boom, I've seen it happen. So like, don't let a not right now be a no. Don't let it be a deterrent from your activities, right? For your nurture follow-up. So especially for those of you who are working in ponds or working with older leads or trying to kind of build a pipeline through some nurturing of people that have been in the system for a while, you can do this as well. So if you have a great conversation, something about them, right? They have maybe a search set up. They may have shared some details of their living situation or their family or their priorities, or their pets, or their hobbies. And so, taking the time to go through your A list or B list or C list or whatever it is, each, Sunday or Monday, and curating an email that is a little bit more specific to these areas or that person, and then sending that email early Monday morning, right? Like schedule it to send at some point Monday. Then now you have something all week long to text them. Hey, did you see that email that I sent you about this? Or call them and be like, hey, I'm just kind of following up, making sure that you got that email because I thought it was really cool. I thought you'd something you'd like. Emerald, speak up, my sis.
Yeah, thanks. So I think only Jim's not on our team, but for me, I'm a new partner agent. So I'm a baby agent with no sphere and brand new to social media. And so definitely the chatter on our team of, no one answering the calls has been making me feel itchy for months, where I'm calling and not getting any responses. Generally the leads I'm reaching out to registered with us, 4 years ago plus, right? And so adopting the tactic of our 10 days of nurture, I've taken leads that were transitioned into my pond when we did a CRM transition. These people, I called once when I first started. They've been unresponsive. There's no search set up for them. They haven't picked up the phone once. This morning, I deployed the tactic of not only updating the search, but texting and then sending a personalized email with that search in there. So far this morning, I have 5 people that have popped into their search and looked at it. So I'll be stalking them over the next 10 days. But for me, getting into open houses this weekend was really a big deal because I need as many lead generation pathways as possible, but also deploying this tactic again. Now, to your point, Rachel, now they've opened my email. I know that I can see what they're looking at finally, right? I don't have some random, they don't exist. But so yeah, it's really I think adopting these behaviors and tactics, even for people that we haven't talked to, and yeah, sure, if they're a new lead, great, like that's really important. But for these uncovered people that we haven't talked to in years, I'm really excited to see some movement and traction with them.
100%. Yeah, I think that like one of the things that people have a lot of issues with when they first get in is that, when you're first learning prospecting and lead generation and lead conversion, you think that the point is to set an appointment, right? You think the point of every action is just to set an appointment. And that is very short-sighted. Like the point of trying to reach out and make communication is to make a connection. It is not to talk them into buying a house right now. And that is the mindset of people who want to be in this long-term, right? The clients can feel the difference between you wanting to make a connection and wanting to find things that they're actually interested in and showing an interest in what they do and providing them value in the areas that they're looking in versus, well, when can we meet? When can we meet so I can tell you all the cool things about me and my team, right? Like that's not going to come off as good. So Emerald, I love that. Like having the mindset of this isn't about like my goal with like this particular lead generation or going less unilateral and more multi-channel is to get interaction, is to start getting more specificity with what they're looking for, is to get them to come back to the website. It's to get them to open that email. It's to get them like there will become this subliminal messaging that they see your name consistently, and people associate consistency with value, right? If they know that you're consistent about things, they know that you're going to continue to do things in the same manner and in the same way, and you're going to follow up. That's going to say a lot about how their experience may be. And they won't even think that consciously, but that's human psychology.
My 2 signed clients, I know this is like a statistical, it's like whatever happens to everyone, but my first 2 signed clients were people I met my first couple of weeks, and it took 4 to 12 phone calls to get them there, but it was slow and gentle approach, and both of them wanted to purchase in 2025. Now they're pre-approved and ready to go this coming season. So it's really exciting.
Heck yeah.
And every nugget you get, like every nugget, you have to repeat it back to them. Like, I remember you told me your daughter's going into first grade. Like, how's that going? Like, that's where we start is the well, depending on their profile, don't do it with everyone, right. But, share those nuggets back because it really resonates and makes us unique in terms of all the agents and clutter, all the people tagging them.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, like if you want like quick wins, then don't nurture your people, right? Continue to chase the low-hanging fruit, continue to chase the people that want to go right now. But if you want a good, sustainable business, taking the time to learn about your leads, taking the time to do a little bit of research and sending them customized, personalized things, that's going to build a very, very thick pipeline of future clients. Because just like Emerald said, the longest nurture that I ever had for a listing was 3 years and 10 months. I talked to this guy every other month for almost 4 years. And then I sold the shit out of his house, and it was the new comp in the neighborhood, right? It takes time. We can't rush it. But I can always say, and I always repeat, hey, I'm gonna continue to follow up with you, not because at this point, like, of course I want you to work with me, and but it's not my timeline, it's yours. I just actually really enjoy talking to you. I really enjoy connecting with you. That, like, when you're telling people those things, when they feel that, they're gonna want to transact with you. And guess what? The good ones are gonna send all their good people your way too. Right? They're gonna tell them about how she followed up relentlessly, and there wasn't a month I didn't get an email from her, and it's been 4 years. That's that loyalty and that consistency will build a lot of trust over time. So another idea, a couple of different ideas, video tour. So if you know somebody, and even if they're an ABC client, somebody who's not willing to meet, even if they're way far out, they're not, like Emerald said, they're really not planning to buy till 2025, but you happen to be going to a home or showing another buyer a home that is kind of fits the profile of what that client might like, do a video tour and send it to them and say, hey, this just totally reminded me of you, because as last time we kind of connected, this was the kind of house that you were talking about. This one's on the market right now, but hey, see, inventory is out here whenever you're ready. What other ideas you got? I have a few more, but I've been talking a lot.
I was just thinking about that mindset shift that you just talked about a little bit, where, most agents will think about that next sale. And I've told clients this, I'm like, I don't really care about the sale. Like, I care about you, but I'm looking at the next 10 to 12 that I do with your family over the next 5 or 10, whatever that is. But I think it's like a mind, like, you can say that, but like, you have to really have that mindset of like, I get a nurture that's going to buy in 3 years. I just won. I didn't lose. I won. And like, I even would trick myself into like, that's awesome, because I don't have to do any work on this right now. So I have more time to go get more for the future, because I can only work on so many deals today. So if I just picked up the phone and got today deals, I'd have to pick up the phone and get today deals every day for the rest of my career. But right now, I've built up a pipeline, so every once in a while a today deal comes, but that's what, 5% of the time, and then the other 95% are something that happened over that period of time. And the best business is those people that already trust you. But the way you build that is they start as a for sale by owner. They start as a pay-per-click. They start as an expired. Like, those are huge opportunities. Like, expired for sale by owners, like, didn't work out when they tried to sell themselves, expired, like, couldn't sell it with that other agent. Like, you're going to get so many referrals, but it's thinking of like that long term. It's not, if you just think of that one listing, you're going to be getting that one listing every day for the rest of your career, and it's going to be painful.
Yeah, exactly right. It is a mindset shift, because it's difficult for a lot of people to balance. Like a commission only position is very stressful, right? It's incredibly stressful to go. You don't know sometimes how long you're going to go in between getting a commission check. So this is why we preach the consistency of a schedule and the structure of time blocks and the consistency of activity and the consistent output of, not just prospecting, obviously, with calls, but these kind of prospecting, like the overarching connecting and relationship building. Like, the consistency with which all of these things happen will directly correlate with the consistency of your business. As just like Emerald's experience, the things that we do right now, the activities that we do, the connections that we make, the people that I meet, the new conversations that I have, they might not actually transact for 6 months to 3 years from now. But I don't care when they do. I just care that they do it with me. And if you have that attitude and you bring that attitude to every meeting and you reiterate that to them, like, hey, this is your timeline, not mine. My job is to make sure that you are well informed, that you are well educated, that you know all of the options and you know the timeline. But I don't care when that is. I just care that it's with me. That's my job. I say that over and over and over to all of my clients and even my friends. Be like, I know that you're going to buy eventually, and whatever you need in the meantime, I'm here for you. But I just want it to be me when you do it, right? So another idea. What about those leads like Emerald's experienced who comes in and they've looked at the same property online 4 times, 5 times, and then they come back the next day and look at it 2 more times, and you see like they're on their profile, you can see that they're kind of lingering at this particular property. So instead of calling out, texting me like, oh, they're not answering me, pull that comp, do a CMA, put together a cloud CMA report, and email them a market analysis with maybe a couple of thoughts. Hey, I noticed that this might be a house of interest. I wanted to show you how it's priced comparatively to other homes in the market, and also what other homes sold for in the neighborhood. Is this the kind of neighborhood you're looking to buy in? That's going to stand out a lot differently than a call or a text 4 times. Like, this is the kind of things that we have to think about doing in order to bring value to the people so that they see value in us. We get a crazy amount of money sometimes for some of these price points and transactions, like if you think about it. So how do we earn that? Are we earning that in real time? Are we increasing the value with which we bring to earn that money? That's a big part of it. Another idea is like best restaurants in the area, and you can break it up like, 3 best pizza places, 3 best sports bars, 3 best sushi restaurants, 3 best steakhouse, like whatever, right? Just again, you never know what's going to pique somebody's interest. You never know what, like some people want to move to an area. Like I actually like to hear, like, what kind of reasons have you heard for why people are moving into a particular area? Walkability. What else?
Horses. They want.
Horses. Mm-hmm.
That was today's.
Yeah, I've had clients buy in a specific neighborhood because of proximity to school.
I was
They
just
literally wanted, like, their goal was like, I want to walk my kid to school. Yeah. Like that was the goal. I mean, you never know what other people's goals or motivation is.
work.
So if you are going one track mind, what was that, Michelle?
Work where it's located.
Yep.
Most people are like, I want 30 minutes only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is where we can infuse and bring value and options and help open their mind and challenge their thinking in regards to what they're looking for, what's important to them, why that's important to them, right? It's not just having phone and text and email conversations, but it's actually pulling some stuff. Another one would be like pulling all of the open houses. So doing like a market analysis from like around a house that they really like, or that you've seen that they've viewed multiple times, and pulling up and seeing what open houses are going on this weekend in that search area. Being like, hey, just thought it'd be really interesting for you to go kind of check out what's on the neighborhood, what the inventory is going on in the area that you were kind of searching. Happy to meet you at any of these if you wanted me to walk you through any. And maybe there's a couple that don't have open houses we could go see together too. Like, again, these are just like, this is just an out of the box way to get interaction, to potentially stir more or sooner interest, and to bring some value. That's it. Other ideas around here? Destiny, Anna, y'all have been very quiet today.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm unmuted. 2 things. So I was thinking about one of my clients that I'm nurturing. They're really into the lifestyle in Edmonds, and I have not sent them anything about the lifestyle in Edmonds, and I know it quite well. So that was what was kind of running through my head, is I should send them restaurants, and they also love dogs, see if there's any dog friendly things in the area. She's a vet. So, and then based on what Jim was saying earlier about not looking at the next transaction, I don't know who I was following on Instagram, but someone had said it was a realtor, one of their biggest things that changed their business was, instead of looking at the next 5 transactions and everything they're doing being about the next 5 transactions, that they changed it to everything they do is about the next 5 years. And just that same mindset shift. So those were the things that were running through my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about like getting creative for your clients because we're the ones that know like about all of the programs, all of the things like that. And maybe we didn't offer something and they didn't know about it and it could have worked for them. Like for example, like BPA or first time home buyer program or what was the other one that was just on my mind? Like a co-signer, things like that that they didn't even think about could open up a whole different world for them.
Absolutely, Anna. Like even just a simple email, like written by you, maybe some of the flyers that Sharon or premium, that they provide us, like, hey, not sure if not sure if it's something that you could qualify for or even be interested in, but I thought that these are important things for you to know in this process, that this is available. Like that would pique interest, right? That opens up doors, that opens up opportunities. People will assume that things aren't available to them. Like most of the general public will assume that things aren't available to them. They don't like change. They're going to make excuses as to why they're not changing. And most of those excuses have to do with the lack of knowledge, not like by them intentionally, but just because they just don't know. But they don't know what they don't know. I love that, Anna. I love that. Yeah. And here's some options. Just FYI, making sure you know this is on the table. I love it.
To piggyback off what Anna said, I think like reshaping the perception of the market is really important right now, especially coming off of such a wonky, although it was my first only 3 months, but from what I gather, it was a pretty wonky year last year. And so working with my partner, I think one of the things I've felt really stale is that some of my clients are high C. They want to know all the data, all the detail. They are reluctant to move. It's a big, tall order, especially for someone that's been living in their home for 20 years and now they either want to downsize or often they're trying to move out of the hustle and bustle of Seattle. And so working with my partner, Jen, what we talked about is creating a market update email recapping what happened in the month of January. We'll do one for people that are looking to buy and sell, and then just our fresh buyers.
Mm-hmm.
So, Anna, what you were just saying of like talking about the programs, that actually kind of gave me a couple nuggets. I have people that are, really risk adverse and they're afraid of those monthly mortgage payments. And so maybe I can deploy for my buyers some of Anna's tactics there, and then really drill into equity and the change of the market over the last few weeks for the sellers in our time. So that's kind of a new tactic email. But I think to your point, Rachel, it's like I'll also need to hit that up, or Jimmy, I think you mentioned it. I need to include a text message to say, hey, the email's out there. And then I need to follow up with the next text message to say like, hey, did you review it? Like, let's chat this through. What does that look like for you in our market?
Yep.
So thanks for the inspiration, Anna.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Jim was totally spot on with that. Like we're talking, how do we actually communicate with people? Like if I call Jen, I don't just call Jen. I usually, if she doesn't answer, I'll be like, call me when you can. Not a big deal. No urgency. Like I will follow up with like a why I'm calling. Same. We should be doing the exact same thing to every single lead. Jimmy, I saw you unmute.
Yeah, I was just thinking when I went to the Hatch Mastermind thing last week, there was a word that came up called the word pursuit, and I think it ties big time into this. And we talked a little bit about like if you were going to date someone, like the way you would pursue them, and not saying that that's what you're doing with these leads, but you got to pursue them. It's got like if you were trying to think of somebody like, hey, like I need to, Valentine's Day is coming out. I need to go to like, what's the perfect setup for this? Where should we go? What should we do? Like, but thinking creatively like that when you're thinking of these people that you're reaching out to, like you're not bringing them off of Valentine's Day most likely, but you're really really thinking about that. Like, how do I get creative? Because I think you said something, Rachel, is like, sometimes we forget, like, I mean, you guys have a little bit higher price point, but if somebody sells 30 houses in my market, they're doing pretty well. If they're selling, honestly, if they're selling 20 in your market, they're doing pretty well. They're financially doing just fine. I mean, there's 52 weeks in a year. If you sell 26 houses, that means you're selling a house every 2 weeks, which means, what are you putting, a house under contract less than once a week? So that's like one client. Like, so you can't pursue one client. And just thinking like super simple math. you're selling 20 or 30 houses a year, like you have more than enough time to research this client, pursue this client, and go sell 25, 30 houses a year. And you get to build friendships because you're actually, not, you don't have commission breath, because you can, like I was on a networking thing recently, and nice guy, but oh my God, I've never had so much commission breath that I've heard. But it was just going and like constantly sales pitch after sales pitch after sales pitch. And it just, you could feel the wall go up. You could feel the wall go up. And that's what it feels like if we're just calling and saying, hey, how's it going? It's like, and when I've done that, I don't know if you guys have ever had that experience. Somebody's, says to you like, I'm not looking to do anything right now, because they feel like you're just asking them for business. Like you're just, that's the only reason you're calling me. They pick up the phone like, yeah, not looking to do anything right now. And this is somebody, that's like, and you feel dirty. They feel dirty. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, not to like make this full circle, but to tie in like why we do client events, why the team invests a lot of money into, VIP events, client events with different demographics, is to give you opportunities to call those people. And I think that there were a couple of years that, people on the team didn't do any reach outs for client events. They didn't attempt to get anybody at these events. And it's difficult to remember in the moment because it feels like another activity on the calendar I have to go do. Trust me, I get it. But what you are doing by following up and inviting those people and just bringing them straight value, this is an environment that we're not going to pitch you in a house. We don't have anything to get from you. We have nothing for you to buy. This is just like a connection time. Why would you not be taking advantage of that as a phone call and a text message to just, hey, like, I'd love to just see you, like catch up with you, and hey, I'm going to feed you and drink you, and, like, let's connect. Like, think about that for a second. This is for agents, to a huge tool for you to be able to reach out, bring people in to nurture, get face to face without any pressure of business whatsoever. You're just straight bringing them a good time. That's the point of client events. So that certainly ties into the lead action plan and all that. So I would encourage each of you, because I know that, if as a team agent or as a solo agent on a team, if you do not have templates built out, right? Text templates or email templates that sound like you, go do that. You don't always have to use templates that sound like Mike or sound like me, right? Because I text differently than Michael does, and I email differently than he does, and my cadence of speed and pace and grammar is going to be different, right? Like, you want it to sound like it's coming from you because people want to transact with you. So create those couple of like recurring templates in an email or recurring templates in a text message that you can consistently, send out to these different people at different times at your discretion, but that they will sound like you. Okay, take the time to do that. That's part of having the discipline of building a business, is utilizing these tools and putting these things in place so that going forward, you can build efficiencies while also being effective, to Novak's point. Because efficiency is great, but if you're not setting any appointments and closing any deals from all that, those calls and efficiencies, they're doing jack. It's about effectiveness, right? Any last closing thoughts? Any big ahas? Walk away takeaways?
I'll call my team to watch this video here, because it's just a reminder of like where success leaves clues, and the clue is relationship. That's a secret. It's a big secret that nobody seems to be able to figure out. It's relationships.
Mm-hmm. I think that people think that they can force the relationship or fake the relationship, right? A lot of real estate agents fake a relationship. And over time, that might work. Like, I've seen it work, in fact, short term. But give them 2 years, give them 3 years. They haven't actually invested in those relationships. They haven't actually, they don't actually have a heart for those people. They haven't actually built like a meaningful relationship, over time, that business is going to go away, and they're just going to be chasing those one-off wins and not building anything sustainable whatsoever. So when we say this is a relationship business, that's what we mean. Not that you have to go fake a relationship up front. Up front's the hardest. It's a 2 to 3 year grind to get into a point where you've got some recurring business and compounding business and referral business incoming. But you take the time to do that. You have the discipline to follow those time blocks and make those templates and do that research on those clients and bring them value. And people will only speak your praises most of the time. Well, I think this was a great discussion. Thank you for all your input. This was awesome. It's a great reminder, like Jim said, of going and building some relationships, using multiple mediums, getting creative, thinking outside the box. Let's think a little bit more critically, right? About how people communicate and how, if we were to put ourselves in the mind of these consumers, what are they doing day to day? Do they want to be called? Or do they want maybe a text message saying, hey, I sent you an email with the top 3 restaurants in the neighborhood that you were looking at. Check them out when you get a chance. Boom, no pressure. Boom, value. All right, guys, enjoy your Wednesday. Thanks for the discussion. Have an awesome one.